All right, so I hope you're doing pretty well so far. We are on step number 6 here. You're almost done, so good job. Keep up the good work. This is the follow-up and follow-through step, and you've probably heard the phrase, the fortune is in the follow-up. Now, so much money falls through the cracks in sales opportunities and also in Veridian because people do not follow up as often as they should or in a way that makes the most sense statistically. So let's jump right into this and take a look at some of these sales stats. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. That's crazy. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and then stop. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Only 2% of sales are actually made on the first contact. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. And 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So now that you know this information and you can see that your likelihood of closing deals increases exponentially by your number of follow-ups, let's fall in love with the follow-ups. But here's some tips, right? Because one of the worst things you can do is to build up an inventory of people who are still in the queue, who are still undecided. So what I would say is step number 1, or tip number 1, is be prepared at your actual show the plan meeting to have the tools for these people to sign up, either as associates or customers, right? Have your laptop with the internet. Have paper applications available. Make sure you give people the opportunity to enroll by having the tools with you. Tip number 2, end that first meeting with a specific next step, right? So where do you suggest that we go from here, Joe? Or what's the best next step for us? Or how does next Tuesday at 5 o'clock look for us to get back together, to answer additional questions and see which direction you want to go? So if you can't nail that down at that meeting, then follow up within a very stated period of time, within a 24 to 48 hour period. And then lastly is give these people something like a Success from Home magazine that Veridian happens to be sponsored in, or a sustainability report or something else, and give it to them, but also have a reason to get back together because you might want to get it back to be able to give to somebody else. So there's just some tips on the follow-up to help you reduce the amount of people that you need to continuously follow up with and be specific when you end those meetings. So this business is pretty simple. We generate leads, we contact those people, we show them the program, and then we get a decision one way or the other. So on the far left here down below in the picture, you'll see that we're capturing leads from trade shows, from networking events, your warm market, referrals, family, friends, whatever the case may be. Then we reach out to these people, by telephone, we send them a letter in the mail, whatever the response mechanism that you use to reach out to these people. The no part is really where you're sharing information, them sharing information about themselves to you, you sharing information about what you're involved with to them, and then you have the follow-up. So that's basically what we do in this business. So here's a really interesting story. A lobster, when left high and dry among the rock, does not have the sense enough to work his way back to the sea, but waits for the sea to come to him. If it does not come, he remains where he is and dies, although the slightest effort would enable him to reach the waves, which perhaps are within a yard of him. The world is full of human lobsters, people stranded on the rocks of indecision and procrastination, who instead of putting forth their own energies, are waiting for some grand billow of good fortune to set them afloat. Now, life is a continuous series of decisions that we have to make. And we all know that sitting on the fence is a very uncomfortable place to sit. So a divided mind leads no one, right? So the first decision I want you to make is that you're committed, that you are 100% fully committed to success in your business. And make that decision now. And then when you actually sit down with people, give them the opportunity to choose. Do you want chocolate or do you want vanilla? Do you want to become a customer or do you want to become an associate? Give them the opportunity to say yes or no. Because we had 2 speakers come to our leadership retreat in the Poconos this past year, and they have a series of a program, and they wrote a book called Go for No. And what they teach is how to fall in love with getting no's, and that you cannot have yeses if you don't have no's. You can't have home runs unless you have strikeouts. So really it boils down to the number of at-bats that you're able to actually have. And why don't you have some no goals? For example, saying, I want to get 10 no's today. Because if you try to get 10 no's, you're going to by default get yeses. So a sheet I put together for you is a sheet for you to fill in. Whether you're brand new or you've been involved with Viridian for a while, you can reuse this sheet and start from scratch at any point in time you want. And the goal is to fill this chart in as you're mentoring people towards success. So put your name in the top, put your monthly residual income goal in the top left, but in the top right, that's the most important part of this entire PDF. And you can actually download this PDF if you click back after this video is done. Underneath the video itself, there's a little PDF document there for you. The show the plans box is the most important. And this one's actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 30 STPs right there. And you want to actually put a line through this when you get a no. So your goal is to show the plan and get 30 no's as fast as possible. And then teach other people to do the same. And if you can do that, I can almost guarantee you with certainty that this chart's going to become a reality for you. So check it out, look at it, use it, and be really, really good with this for yourself and with other people. Here's a couple quick tidbits on rejection for you, just to help you change your frame of mind about what rejection really means. Number one, rejection doesn't mean that you aren't good enough. It means the other person failed to notice what you have to offer. That's a great one. How about this? A clear rejection is always better than a fake promise. You ever have people who kind of string you along, and you would have much rather gotten a no, I'm not interested, versus them, keep dragging the process out? Or how about the third one here? A rejection is nothing more than a necessary step in the pursuit of success. And then Dr. Seuss, one of my favorites, this is what he says. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Right? So your friends are going to be your friends. Those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind when you bring this up to them and you show them this plan. How about the last one here? We all fear rejection, want attention, crave affections, and dream of perfection. So I'll end here by a great quote by the author of The Alchemist. If you haven't read that book, I would go on to the recommended reading section and find it and then buy it. It is a phenomenal book, guys. You want to really seriously pay attention to it because it really helps you figure out your life purpose. They call it your personal legend. Just a great author, and it's a wonderful story. He says you must be careful never to allow doubt to paralyze you. Always take the decisions you need to take, even if you're not sure you're doing the right thing. You'll never go wrong if when you make a decision, you keep in mind an old German proverb. The devil is in the detail. Remember that proverb, and you'll always be able to turn a wrong decision into a right one. So follow up and follow through. Do it often. Beat the odds. Play the game. Fall in love with no. Use the chart. Track it. Be consistent. Don't take rejection personally. And go out there, guys, and make it a great day. We'll see you in the next video.